So we've made it to the final episode of Cabinets of Curiosity, episode 8, which is The Murmuring. And this story is about two ornithologists, and ornithology is just the study of birds. So Nancy and Edgar Bradley are there to study bird murmurations. And murmurations are just the way that starlings, they fly in a swooping, intricate, coordinated pattern in the sky. And these two have recently lost their daughter, Ava. And so this is really just like kind of like a character study of a married couple who have lost their spark, suffering through loss and how they kind of come together. And then they kind of just threw in a ghost story. So they go to this house to study these bird patterns. And then the wife, Nancy, starts seeing, apparitions. And she sees a little boy and he's always crying, talking about his mom's upset at him. And then she sees the mother and she's angry. And so it turned out when Nancy was investigating that the mother drowned her son and then committed suicide. So Nancy's seeing things and it's causing more problems between her and her husband. And then one day, Nancy was like, "Come to me, little boy. Come to the light." Kind of reminded me of Poltergeist. We say, "Caroline, run to the light, Caroline." You remember that for those of you who have seen Poltergeist? And so the little boy runs to her arms and he disappears. The mother comes in there and she's like, "How could you? How could you?" And then she jumps from the window. And then all these starlings come and they're swooping around and they deliver her. And so Nancy goes outside and the starlings are kind of like swooping and flying all around her and stuff. And then she gets on her radio and she talks to her husband and she's like, "I'm ready to talk about Ava," because she became really cold and withdrawn from her husband.
Of course not. I just thought a mother would cry for her child. We took this trip to make things better, and now we're here, and you...
So neither Nancy or Edgar talk about how they feel. And Nancy has not cried, not even when her daughter died. And Edgar finds this very strange. It's like, you're not mourning your daughter. You don't ask me how I feel. We don't talk about the feelings. We don't talk about our dead child. And he's like, what kind of mother does not mourn the death of her child?
I feel angry. I feel completely heartbroken. And I don't understand you. I don't understand how our darling Ava can die.
And it was actually kind of sad. And so this is pretty much just again, I'll repeat, a character portrayal of two people, an analysis of this marriage and how it's gone so wrong due to loss. And then you throw in a ghost story. This was a little boring, and this is very, very dramatized. So if you like drama, this is for you. However, if you're looking for the spooky suspense, this ain't it. It kind of builds up to it, but it only has like one or two moments where it's like, ah, you know? And so it's not scary. It's not suspenseful. It's kind of just like relying on good acting and the breakdown of this marriage. And you see this couple come back together. And the husband doesn't believe Nancy at all. He thinks that this is just a manifestation of her guilt because their child died. And this is actually a real haunting. Even the caretaker said the people who have stayed there have seen things, but he doesn't believe in ghosts. So it's a real haunting, but only she can see it. And maybe because she's a mother, and maybe because this child is crying out to her because he feels her pain. And, everybody's suffering, the dead mother, Claudette, the child that was drowned, and Nancy. And so the husband is kind of there left alone to cope with his feelings. And Nancy has completely shut down. And I understand the loss of a child would do that to some. However, she kind of forgot that it's not just her in this marriage and her grief. And her way of coping was just to not deal with it, to keep moving on and pushing forward. But sometimes you just kind of have to deal and address with your issues that you have before you can truly move forward and move on with life. So this was a good character portrayal, not really a ghost story. Well, everything else was more horror-like. This didn't have that element to me, and it didn't feel scary. It didn't feel like a horror movie. It just felt like a broken marriage with a ghost story added in for filler. And that's all I got for you. I'm out.